It's a great joy for me to welcome to our parish for Mass today Father Tom Devry. Father Tom was the pastor of Our Lady Star of the Sea on Staten Island during 3 of my very happy years of priestly ministry right after ordination. He was my first pastor as a priest. Now, you know, they say that young priests tend to turn into their first pastor. So if any of you have any complaints, feel free to talk to Father Tom after Mass. Father Tom, great to have you with us. In our gospel today from Luke chapter 12, we hear one of Jesus' many reminders to be vigilant. Jesus says, "You also must be prepared, for at an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come." And our gospel acclamation today, we heard, "Stay awake, for you do not know when the Son of Man will come." This is a message we hear pretty often throughout the Gospels. Nobody knows when the end of the world will be, and nobody knows when God will come to get us at the moment of our death, and therefore we have to always be ready to face the Lord. We get daily reminders of this, don't we, in our everyday lives? At least reminders that are pretty regular. Just the day before yesterday, I got a call from a classmate of mine from high school. She was crying on the other end of the line, and she told me that her father had just dropped dead that morning. He was 65 years old and never missed a day at the gym. She told me her mother and her father were listening to a podcast that very morning of a bishop who said, "If I were to die today, I would say I've had a very blessed life." And her father turned to her mother and said, "If I were to die today, I would say the same thing." A half an hour later, he fell down, had a heart attack, and died. Can you believe it? I have to do his funeral tomorrow morning in Ossining. I was talking to my friend last night trying to get the funeral ready, and she said to me, "Father, I thought I had 20 more years with my dad." Of course she did. But God had different plans. God has different timing than we do. His last day of life was Monday. At an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come. How can we be prepared when the Son of Man comes? There's only one way. Jesus tells us in this Sunday's gospel coming up what that way is. I'll give you a sneak preview. Jesus says there's 2 commandments, and they both have to do with love. Love the Lord your God with your whole heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. When we fill the days of our lives with love for God and love for neighbor, we will be ready whenever the Son of Man comes to take us. And I've said many times before that one of the great privileges of being a priest is getting to assist people at the hour of their death. And the more times you walk people through that sacred moment, the more you start to realize that when people die, most people tend to ask themselves 2 questions. Was my life worth something? And where am I going? Universally, regardless of religion, people ask themselves those 2 questions. Was my life worth something? And where am I going? And the answer to both questions is love. Was your life worth something? Well, did you spend your life loving God? Did you spend your life loving other people, making a difference in people's lives? Did somebody feel loved because of you? Then your life was worth something. Where are you going? You're going to face God. God is love. Therefore, you're going to face love himself. The answer to both questions is love. If we want to live today's gospel, we don't need to spend our time estimating or calculating when the end of the world will come. And we don't need to spend our time having anxiety or worrying about when we might die. Will it be soon or later? That's all a waste of time. If we want to live today's gospel, all we got to do is fill today with as many acts of love for God and neighbor as possible. Not yesterday, it's already gone. Not tomorrow, it may never come. If we fill today with as many acts of love for God and neighbor, then whether the Son of Man comes today or 20 years from now, we will be ready for him when he comes.